everybody. Last week I did my annual ranking of all the movies that I saw in the previous year. And during it, I did do Q&A every 20, 30 minutes just to kind of break the monotony, do some super chats, get my brain to flow a little bit differently, have some banter with my wife. But we had a hard cutoff this year, in which case several super chats came in that I wasn't able to answer. So I wanted to answer them over here. First one that came up. Have you seen Arcane? If so, what are your thoughts on it? If you need to see it, if not, it's so good. I've only heard fantastic things about it. I have not seen a single episode of it, unfortunately. There's no reason that's specific to the show. It's just so much stuff comes out that I can't cover all of it. Next question from Gaz. Hey, Sean, thoughts on True Detective Season 1? I have never seen it in its entirety. I've definitely seen the first episode, heard amazing things about it. And so we put it on, but for whatever reason at the time, it didn't hook us, didn't stay with us. So I haven't seen the whole season, don't know what happens, haven't had anything spoiled, don't know if there is anything to be spoiled. But I've just never seen the full thing. Joseph Curtis, hey, here's to 2025. You are a leader. I look up to you and appreciate all you do, sir. Thank you so much. You ever gonna review The Chosen? It's certainly on the table, especially now that I've interviewed the creator of the show, big writer on the show, Dallas Jenkins. I have his publicist email. So there's a lot more to that becomes kind of more interesting to me, where I'm not just watching, reviewing, ranking something. When there's an opportunity to do that deeper dive into it, interview the actual creators behind it, that to me, as someone trying to grow as a critic, in some sense a journalist, wanting to dig deeper, more to it, there's something there that's more interesting to me. It hasn't been a show that I've been drawn towards. It's not one that my wife's been, hey, let's watch this show. That makes it a little bit tricky. And there's always so much coming out. Why have I not seen True Detective? Why have I not seen Arcane? There's always a bajillion things coming out. There's always so much coming out. So that's a lot of times the context of why I haven't covered some things a little bit more, or haven't I even watched them. Whatever window I would have watched it, there's something else I could have watched, I want to watch. If I don't have something just driving, I have to watch this, I have to watch this, I have to watch this. Sometimes I like to just have the breathing room to not have to watch stuff. And all of a sudden, you're like, well, if you watch The Chosen so you can cover it, it adds in the 4 seasons of a show I need to watch. 10 hours, 30 hours of The Chosen to watch. That's kind of what goes on with me. Trey Porter, I kind of wish the Bad Boys Ride or Die came out on 4th of July weekend so that Will Smith can reclaim his 4th of July title. I also recommend the show Shadow Strays on Netflix. It's my favorite action movie of the year. I'm aware of Shadow Strays. It's another one of those ones that was like, oh, that could be interesting, but it just got lost in the mix. Netflix puts out so much stuff that it's so easy for something to kind of just get lost and disappear. And so something that all of a sudden is your favorite action movie, I'm not even sure if I've seen the trailer for it. I don't know what the premise is. I just know it's a thing that exists, that the people that saw it got excited about it, but I don't know anything about it. And that's frustrating that so much stuff comes out that I don't even know what it is, and it's your favorite of a category. But yeah, as for Will Smith, yeah, he used to dominate the 4th of July weekend. That was his thing. He laid claim to it for a whole section of time. He would put out a big blockbuster on the 4th of July. Same way that Christopher Nolan has claimed late July for his new movies. And that would have been fun if there was a way in which Will Smith started to reclaim the 4th of July. Even kind of looking at this year, it's not like that. There was Despicable Me 4, but I don't think there was a big action thing that would be competition for it. But also thanks for the big super chat. Final one on here from Jacob. Aaron Pierre was really good in the show Krypton, the Superman prequel series developed by David S. Goyer. It's very underrated in my opinion. I have seen the first season of that, but I didn't. Let me see. Krypton series. Let me look this up real quick. He was Dev M, a former commander in the Kryptonian army. And I mean, I watched it several years back, so I don't even remember what his role was on the show or anything like that. So now I want to go back and rewatch the first season to like catch up on like where did he fall into this? What was his part in the whole narrative and everything like that? But I whenever I put it on, I enjoyed it well enough. I just kind of, it was one of those ones that I put on kind of as a, I don't want to have to, I'm not covering this. I'm just throwing on a show that's already off air. Probably during, I think it was during COVID. And so enjoyed season 1 enough. I think there was like some like plot about a kid dying or something like that where my wife was like, I'm done with this. I'm not watching this. And so then my interest kind of faded after that. But even kind of like looking at like Hannah Waddingham is in it and Aaron, wait, now we need to rewatch this thing because it's like several people that were on this show became kind of a big deal. And so that's where some of it becomes interesting of like you realize the people that when you saw them and you didn't think anything of it, but then since then have had, careers have taken off. And it's fascinating sometimes how these shows that are like a sci-fi original show, you don't think of that as like this training ground for a bunch of big talent, but that's the way it's kind of played out. All right, like I said, I was just answering a few questions that were asked that people sent in super chats, and so I wanted to make sure I answered their questions over here. If you enjoy my Q&As, if you want to get your question answered, always consider joining over on Patreon. I do weekly Q&As. So if you join for just 1 month at $2, that's 4 different Q&As where you can ask 2 questions. You get a bunch of questions answered for just $2 per month. Right now, literally for the next few days, if you use code Sean25, you can get 25% off an annual membership just for a few more days. So if you do the annual membership with that Sean25, it's like $15 and you get all the Q&As for the entire year. You can ask over 100 questions or whatever. So think about doing that. Information's down below. If I remember to copy it over, keep talking movies and TV too much. Bye-bye.